boom boom bandidi, a doom dum day, a doom dum day, do 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 do.
Well, hello and welcome to Heavy Petting on the Job, and today I really wear my heart on my sleeve. Reason? Well, I grew up to all these wonderful stories from the Jungle Book about Baloo the bear, and he was indeed my favorite character. Unfortunately, Baloo today is not Baloo how he should be. Let's find out more on that. Sir, sorry. मैं यहाँ पे आरएफओ को ढूंढ रहा हूँ.
हाँ, myself Helen उत्तम, आरएफओ.
आप आरएफओ में?
हाँ.
उत्तम जी, nice to meet you. मैं एक्चुअली एनडीटीवी से आया, मेरा नाम कीथ है.
ठीक.
सर, आपसे एक्चुअली एक दो सवाल पूछने हैं. यहाँ पे जो फॉरेस्ट के जो एनिमल्स हैं, उनके प्रोटेक्शन के लिए आपने जो कानून पास किए हैं और जो आप प्रोटेक्शन के इंचार्ज हैं यहाँ पे, उनके बारे में, तो इस स्टेट में क्या प्रॉब्लम्स रहते हैं ज़्यादा?
ऐसा है, वाइल्ड लाइफ एक्ट 1972 में आ गया था
जी. इसमें
जो है किसी भी वन्य जीव को पालना, उसको रखना, मारना, उसको
पालना, रखना, मारना,
हाँ, दौड़ाना, ये सब जो है शिकार की श्रेणी में आता है. और इस पे जो है धारा 9 के तहत जो है इसको अपराध माना गया है. और धारा 51 इसकी है वाइल्ड लाइफ एक्ट की, उसमें इसमें पनिशमेंट निर्धारित है जो वेरी करता है 3 से 7 साल तक. और
3 से 7 साल तक. अच्छा. तो भालू का जो है उसके लिए स्पेशल सोसाइटी है क्या यहाँ पे?
हाँ, वाइल्ड लाइफ SOS ने जो है एक हमारी सूर सरोवर पक्षी विहार के अंतर्गत इनको जो है वन विभाग ने भूमि दिया है और उसमें जो है भालू संरक्षण केंद्र खोला गया है और इसके अंदर जो है 250 से अधिक भालू रखे गए हैं.
शुक्रिया सर आपके वक्त के लिए. अभी देख लूँ मैं आपको?
हाँ, नहीं, जा सकते हैं.
चलो जी, थैंक यू. थैंक यू. Hello.
Hi,
you're Karthik?
Yes.
I'm Keith from Heavy Petting.
Nice to meet you. Welcome
to
to
meet
the
you.
largest bear rehab center in the world.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me here.
You're welcome. Would you like to walk with us and meet the team?
Of course I would.
Come along.
Well, this facility is nice and open. It's a great place for the bears, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 160 acres of pure forest natural habitat. Geeta, let me introduce you to our co-founder,
Okay.
Geeta Seshmani. I'm going to leave you in some capable hands. She's going to talk to you more about the bears. I'll just finish some work and catch up with you guys.
Okay, no problem.
See
Thanks
you.
very much. Yeah?
You're welcome.
Hi, Geeta. Nice to meet you. And it's so nice to be in a place that actually rescues wild bears. I can see you're doing a lot of good work here, and I'm told there's a lot of bears that you'll have rescued. How long has this facility been going on for now?
It's close to 11 years now that we've had bears on in this facility.
Yeah.
And we have about 255 bears in our care at the moment.
That's amazing. And all of these have been rescued, is it?
These are all rescued from the Kalandars.
Okay.
That was the tribe that was using them for dancing bears as an entertainment.
Right.
And when the Supreme Court ruled that bears cannot be used along with 4 other species for entertainment,
Right.
then the focus came on these bears, and we realized that no one really knew how many bears were in captivity. No one knew where they were getting these bears from.
Right.
And that's when we started our project, and we started trying to find out more about these bears and where they were being used. We stayed in the villages with the Kalandars for almost about 18 months.
Yeah.
And we traveled from place to place. And although they say it's a 400-year-old practice, we failed to find any kind of sympathy or empathic bonds between the Kalandar and the bears. For them, these were just commercial entities.
Okay.
And though they told the authorities that they were breeding the bears, the way they kept their bears in such malnutrition states with so many diseases, and they treated them so badly, there was no question of breeding the bears. They had all been poached from the wild. And while we stayed with them, we realized that their training methods were barbaric too.
Yeah.
And in fact, the bear doesn't really dance. It's only a reaction to pain, because right from the time they have it as a cub, they break the canines and teeth with an iron pestle. And you know, the needle that you use to sew your mattresses with, with that, without anesthesia, they pierce the muzzle. And we used to wonder why even adult bears had suppurating muzzles with pus and maggots. And we realized that was because throughout the lifetime of the bear, they keep on refreshing the wound in the muzzle. And eventually the bear is just responding to pain. So the method of training was just pain and fear. And that's when I think our resolution firmed up that leaving the bears in the hands of the Qalandars was not the ideal thing to do.
That is a horrible story of pain and suffering, and turning a wild animal into a professional dancer so that they could earn money for themselves. That actually sounds so barbaric. And you know, what actually prompted you all to get into something? Why this species in particular?
The tourists had begun starting to write letters to the Minister of Environment, Saifuddin Soz, at that time, speaking about the cruelty that they witnessed to the bears on the streets.
Yeah.
And then together with the Supreme Court ruling, it became an issue. And I had seen the dancing bears in the villages just outside Delhi,
Right.
at Balabgarh, and it was a pathetic sight even then.
Yeah.
Because the bears are invariably kept staked at the end of a 4-foot rope,
Yeah.
slathered in mud. But the people themselves are very poor. So it was a complex problem that presented itself to us at the beginning.
Yeah.
And we had to come up with a holistic solution to the whole thing. And moreover, sloth bears in the wild, the moment we learned through our study, which took us about 18 months to 2 years, that all these sloth bears were being poached from the wild, we realized we were looking at a rather dire situation in the wild too.
Yeah.
The sloth bear numbers would come down very rapidly,
Yeah.
and we would have a problem in the future.
Also tell me, I mean, I'm just trying to be a little bit objective about this, in terms of what happens to the bear, because presuming it's taught from when it's a child to only dance, it only knows that. Once it gets its freedom through you all, is there any way of rehabilitating and sending them back to the wild, or do you all just have to keep them in the facility like this?
But when we first got the bears, we realized that contrary to what we might think, that the animals would enjoy being off the rope and we'd give them space and freedom and natural environment, actually speaking, the bears almost went into shock because they were so used to being led by their
Yeah.
owners at the end of a rope. Many of them couldn't deal with the idea of having the rope gone
Yeah.
and what to do with the space. So we had to work very hard with them to make them give up some of the stereotype habits that they had of weaving,
Yeah.
of keening, of not moving from one place, not
Yeah.
trying to forage for their food.
Just being bears.
Just being bears was such a tough chore, particularly for the first lot of bears that we got.
Oh my God. Is there any specific incident of a bear that you've gotten attached to or that you've seen growing and has been very encouraging? Can you relate something like that to me?
I think our very first bear, Rani, when she came in, and that was my first close encounter with a bear, in the sense of having to talk to her, make her more holistically a bear.
Yeah.
So it was very intense.
And how is she in terms of personality towards you all?
A tremendous personality. Today she's almost wild.
Okay.
And she's a big matriarch of her enclosure.
Lovely.
And you can hardly go in.
Oh.
She reacts quite aggressively, just like a wild bear would.
Oh, lovely.
She's enormously beautiful. She was 45 kgs when she came.
Yeah.
She's about 110 now.
Yeah.
And she's got a gorgeous coat. So that's
Oh.
been very successful, and Rani always stays in my mind because of that.
Thank you very much for sharing those wonderful moments, and it all sounds so encouraging, and we're very proud of the work that you all have done by taking these hard-working animals that people have been very cruel to. So thank you very much
Thank
indeed.
you.
Well, I'm sure you guys have your own stories at home with your pets, and wonderful stories that are so encouraging for us always, so we share them with you on Bloggers Bark.
Rock is the ultimate cuddler. Anisha says that this little fellow just cannot sleep without holding her tight. Whenever he's missing, he's usually chewing something. Actually, anything that fits in his mouth. Rock cannot see but understands the simple pleasures of life, sitting by the window and feeling the warm sunlight and a cool gush of wind. And now for this week's video. This baby beagle is Neerav's pet Oreo. As you can see, this little pooch is full of vanity. Mirror, mirror on the wall, you know I'm the prettiest of them all. Right, Oreo? If your pet is a star too, do send in their high-resolution photographs and videos to pets@ndtvgoodtimes.com.
Boom, bandidi, a doom dum day, a doom dum day, do 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 do.